So let's kind of like go and analyze this a little bit, right? So Page of Pentacles is kind of like a very positive card. As I said, prior to this reading, I always start asking the deck how will we get along. And I have a collection of maybe good 50 to 70 decks that didn't like me. And then I have to revisit it from time to time, and sometimes I didn't like them either. But I really loved this deck, and this deck loved me with this card coming up, and it's coming up for you. So what is Page of Pentacles? So the Page of Pentacles is the bearer of good news, if you wish, in kind of like earthly matters, right? So it's money, business, education, career, property, or health. It represents making a very solid start, right? And laying foundation for future success. So not only are you entering your birthday kind of like part, but you're entering a completely new phase. It's a new book. You bought yourself something nice, which is kind of heralding that start. I would highly advise getting yourself a diary. Get yourself as beautiful book as you can get, and kind of like start putting it in, chart down, like have one of those, mapping apps, and kind of like say, I want to go in this direction. In family, this is what I want. With my love affairs, this is what I want. With children, this is what I want. With career, this is what I want. Education, kind of like sort it out, have like these different kind of like branches going forward, right? And message here is to decide what you want and really go for it, right? So kind of like jump and seize your opportunities while you can. This is going to be an entire month for planting seeds when something like this happens. So imagine how happy I was when I saw that. This is kind of like having a two-in-one. If you're a young person, you are going to have maturity of a wise man, of a sage. If you're an older person, you're going to have youthfulness and spirit and curiosity of a younger person. So it's the best of both worlds kind of a thing, right? So you might find yourself thinking about your long-term future when you see that, right? And you, at this stage, you are going to put forward your values. I'm going to tell you what these values are going to be. First of all, you want to be that person young at heart, and you want to be grounded, you want to be loyal, responsible, dependable, ambitious. But you also want other people to equally be dependable, responsible, dedicated, right? And also you're looking for somebody who has common sense, right? And who has really excellent future prospects, right? So you also might feel really attracted with the energy of Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. So when it comes to love and relationships, this card, and I wanted to put it on something, but I think it's sliding down. You see, kind of like it's really good deck. Well, voila, it works. If you're in a relationship, this is the indication of that great loyalty and faithfulness between you and your partner. It also indicates that maybe spark, or some of the spark, may have gone out of the relationship. It's not indication of an issue. It simply tells you, hey, you know what? Inject some kind of like fun back into things. You're like a freaking fire sign. You can do it. So you know what it means. Like, I mean, nice lingerie, like, I mean, seductive dinner, a nice cookie meal, doing things that would be a little bit different, because you need to kind of like shake yourself up from kind of like same old. If you're single, this Page of Pentacles will tell you that there are plenty of opportunities for love. Just you need to grab them with both hands, right? If you're interested in a particular person, then this minor arcana card is going to tell you, do not sit on the fence about it, right? If you want them, jump in, both feet, take your chances. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Guys, go for it. This card is also really, really good when it talks about money and career, right? And this is excellent omen, and it's kind of like talking about really good news. It's success overall. And however, it's almost like, if you ever listen or read the biographies of the famous people, and the recent was the Wimbledon match that I watched with Djokovic and Federer. It was 5 hours. It was like the longest ever. It was awesome. These two guys are mental giants. Tennis, what you kind of like throw over the kind of like net is not a big deal, but you need to be focused. It's this focus. Imagine having that focus like a cat on a hole for 5 hours. And it was nerve-wracking. Neither of them had the best game, but the game was the best ever. And then basically I did go and listen to some of these Federer's and Djokovic interviews. And it was really interesting in this particular game that Federer is the crowd favorite at Wimbledon, right? And he's crowd favorite here in the US Open, but not so much on the other side. That's possibly because of some kind of like past where he was a joker and he wanted to make fun out of the players, so he kind of like is still paying his dues for that. So the entire crowd was chanting Federer, Federer, Federer. Imagine where you are, company where you are, or your friends, and everybody's saying somebody else and glorify them, and you're more beautiful, you're more successful, we love you. Nothing for you. Imagine how much it was not an equal point, it was a pushback. So he said he has trained himself to hear when they were chanting Federer, to hear Novak. That's his first name, Novak Djokovic. Novak. So he translated to himself. And he trained himself then when he loses the point that he feels, oh my goodness, I'm just going to win. So he kind of gets re-energized. He also was, as he was a very small child, he said, I was making myself trophy out of this aluminum foil, and I was imagining how I am kind of like winning all these trophies, not so much being famous, celebrity kind of a thing, just trophies, because his game is, he is that kind of like new generation coming, even though we have never had, if you're a tennis fan as much as I am, this many good players stuck together. It was like just sparkles here and there. Almost like makes me think this is the end of times. Everything is like the best. So let's go back to why I'm giving you this story. I'm telling you this because this Page of Pentacles indicates putting in the groundwork to achieve that success. It's about setting these goals, deciding what you want for it, and go for it. Djokovic's story is very similar to kind of Oprah's. It was against all odds succeeding, coming from a country where your parents are owning a bakery. They're not very rich, and to play tennis, and I tried. It's very rich sport, right? In order to kind of like move forward. So sacrifices had to be made, and you never know if anything is going to come out. So it was his determination that really pushed that kind of like forward. So if you guys, in this particular case, if you're self-employed or you're working for someone else or looking for work, when this card appears, yay, grab the opportunities. Anything that comes through is going to lead somewhere else, right? You might just get entry position, but within months is going to go forward. I know it sucks being during Mercury retrograde. That can actually have a little bit, but you can still positioning. And this, if you have something coming up from the past, that's the thing to go, right? Thing to go for it, because Mercury retrograde is really good, and it's kind of like approving of taking things from the past and moving it forward, right? So you might be also seeking further education. And if you're already in some kind of like course, you will really excel at it if you put effort in it, right? Financially, this kind of like talks about good financial news. Usually it's in a form of rewards for hard work, not so much kind of like winning lottery, right? And it also kind of like talks about putting things in place, securing your financial future, right? So for example, buying a property or waiting to see if offer on a property will be accepted. But if you're in that situation, then things will go in your favor. Health. And you know that I rarely talk about health because I really think maybe some other people, I used to think, okay, let me clarify that doctors are more qualified, but I don't think that anymore, because I'm going through these shamanic studies and I'm realizing how much we can actually heal with food. And doctors are not even learning about food and nutrition. It's actually very silly how they're on the tail end of everything. So, I mean, I watch the interviews with various PhD Harvard professors on Joe Rogan and anywhere they want to post. And it's more enlightening than any trip to a doctor. And that's scary. So, in particular, I'm going to start actually addressing health in the future. So this really talks about feeling young and feeling healthy, I guess, no matter what your age. This is going to kind of like push you in a new fitness regime, and definitely you will actually start doing something. It's not like you will think about it, but it's going to be sort of like about vitality, not about vanity, right? And again, I keep repeating, you need to put your effort to reach your goals. You need to remember pentacles are associated with earth, so getting back to nature is going to be very helpful in achieving your goals. So if you are in the northern hemisphere, walking in the park, and by the way, walking in the parks is also being deemed as way more beneficial than going in the gym and forcing yourself to do something. They actually did a study about that as well. So even though technically you will not burn, let's say, 600 calories per hour if you do something strenuous such as elliptical, you might burn only 400 or 350, but that 350 will be way more beneficial because it's working on your stress, it's working on your balance, it's working on your connections with the nature. So take it in account, because this is a really clear reminder for taking up hiking or mountain climbing, or also talking about eating more natural foods. This also can talk about being a really good indicator for health, such as birth or pregnancy, or kind of like news of that kind. And lastly, let's talk about spirituality and this particular thing. This kind of like indicates that you want to actually get your spiritual knowledge. But yay, we knew that. You are here at Cat Tarot. Congratulations. But you might be developing your powers of divination or studying the tarot. So hello, welcome to my tarot school. I have 2 levels. I have beginner level and I have intermediate level. Intermediate level is very intense. Beginner level is simply information. You get to learn this, you need to know, and after that you can go to the next level where you'll learn more about each card, each little detail on it. But in the introduction there is like no need for it. It's almost going to be a story rather than anything else, but that story needs to be kind of like absorbed, kind of like the fool's journey. So this kind of like really links with it, because this actually dude is a student or woman. You also might find yourself experimenting with earth magic or kind of like nature religion such as paganism, Wicca, or shamanism, right? And this is going to be a great time to educate yourself on spiritual paths. It's going to be really interesting. You're going to start seeing things with completely different eyes. You're going to start seeing, hey, you know what, yeah, I have this religion that I have, I'm a Christian, whatever you are, right? You know, I'm a Protestant. And you're going to say, but why wouldn't I not be able to layer with that? Or this is a better fit. Oh my gosh, the shoes that I was wearing was kind of like they were good. They took me this way. But now I really need to kind of open up. It's almost like you're taking it kind of like further. So let's jump in the reading itself, guys. So that was the introduction.